Okay, so you might ask yourself, how are you supposed to get into the deeper underpinnings of your unconscious mind and start to change that? Now, one way to look at this is that we have a relationship with ourselves, right? And a relationship to all of the different things in our lives. That's really where the unconscious leverage point is. When a relationship becomes deeper, it becomes a part of you. You know, when you're with your partner, they become a part of you, and that you think about them, they trigger your emotions, they drive you to action, you think, you feel, you act, in accordance with them. You become connected. And that's how we inevitably become with any of our actions. The relationship that anyone has with their movement and with their food and their diet and right now is a result of the relationship that has developed, whether it be one of someone seeking comfort in that relationship. They use the food as a way of sort of socializing and connecting with others, and then many other ways. Obviously the ones that tend to put on weight are the ones where we're sort of overeating. At times where a lot of the time you're by yourself. However that has developed is how you are now. And if we want to direct that in a different way going forward, we're going to have to be intentional about how we develop that relationship and how we manage it. And if you're with your partner and you've got a particularly toxic relationship, that's probably happened just by accident, acting in an emotional way, starting you're fighting with your partner, and then it's developed a bad relationship. But then if you want to have a better relationship going forward, then you're going to have to bring a level of consciousness to your interactions with your partner. And when you have a feeling come up, maybe they trigger you by talking to you a certain way or being a certain way with you, have those emotions come up, and then you choose to act in a different way, and then talk that through with your partner. And that doesn't immediately change the relationship either. It's a way of working on your relationship, and then over time you develop a different connection with your partner that grows. And obviously I'm using all this as a metaphor to say, with your relationship with exercise and with food, if it's not in a good place, what we want to do is actually we have to bring a certain level of consciousness to that, and then start to work on what is needed for that relationship. So if for each person this is going to be unique. If it's someone who's using it for comfort, and when they feel uncomfortable, whether they feel lonely or sad or angry, and you go and use food to comfort yourself, that's not a productive relationship there. It's one where, if it's a two-way relationship, the food is not being very considerate of you in terms of its effect on you. It's just it's just comforting you with complete disregard for your long-term health. So that's just quickly touching on how if you've got a relationship that's in trouble, that's not good, then you would go to relationship counselling, and get some help. And that's maybe how I see my role, is a relationship counsellor between you and food. That's really what I want to be able to do for people here on this channel, is actually be a relationship counsellor for you and food and movement and all your health behaviors. Be a relationship counselor, because that is what we want to do here. That's what this channel is dedicated to, and I'm dedicated to, is to being able to meaningfully help people transform their unconscious underpinnings and help them become who they want to become that healthier person. Not just act in that way and just give you all the hacks and tricks. This is to actually get in there and change you at a deep level. And that will last forever and be much more fulfilling. And the point of leverage here to get to that is through relationship, right? So talking about a negative relationship, how you would go and get into sort of counselling and then work on those things. But there's also the idea of introducing a new behaviour that you don't have now that you would like to have, right? And this is, again, the idea of just trying to hack it in there. It's trying to take a behavior that you never ever did before. It is not part of who and how you are. It's not something you think about. It's not something you like, you want. You're not interested, right? And then the next day, you're going to try and bring in all these behaviors and have them permanently stay in your life. If you're thinking about it in terms of relationship, imagine that you're single in this case, right? So you're single as in you don't have many health behaviors. And then someone comes up to you and immediately says, "You want to get married tomorrow?" And you don't even know them. You don't. Yeah. Then, well, hey, we're gonna, get to know each other a little bit, right? Have a few dates. You're not going to go to dinner on the first date. You maybe just have some lunch or a drink. You've got to get to know each other first. If you want to start exercising, you want to bring that into your life. You want to have a good relationship with exercise. Then what you want to do is, just go for a light, walk, go for a jog, or whatever it is for you. That it's a simple, easy introduction. All right. So you go on a first date. You're not running into this. You're not getting married tomorrow. Right? That'd be silly, wouldn't it? I mean, you get like, hey, you're being too needy. Get away from me. And that's exactly what happens, right? This exercise wants to run and rush into your life and be there forever. The moment that you meet, you get married at first sight. That's no good. Who would want that? And that's exactly what happens. People reject it straight away because it's too much. It's too much too quick. Right? You get to know each other, right? So you introduce each other in an easy context. Become familiar, start to enjoy each other's company a little bit, and then you start to go, oh, hey, you know what, I'm starting to enjoy this. It feels good, I like this person, and then, and then maybe have some time away, and then maybe you learn to miss them, and then, you get together, and then, and then it starts to build, and you have a good relationship that can develop from that. So you've got to start to date these behaviors. You've got to start to get to know them, enjoy their company, and then the relationship gets better, and then eventually you can get married. Maybe to whatever it is that you're doing. It may be a type of exercise you start dating, and then you just realize, you know what, I don't really like this one, right? I don't like this person, this behavior, it's not for me, right? And so, you reject it, you can break up. Then you start dating another behavior, and then you see how that goes, right? And then eventually one of them's going to stick, this is the one for me, right? And this is the other thing as well, is that, when people sort of think that, if they haven't married the behavior immediately, that they've failed, I've failed, or I'm not making progress. I was talking to someone about this the other day, about someone said, I haven't made much progress. So we've been training her for, a few months now. If the only thing you're looking at is whether you've lost a certain amount of weight or centimeters or whatever, like it's just whatever that stuff is, that's like these physical results that would come from, from being married to them immediately, then it's kind of looking at such an external metric that is just, has no consideration of the relationship between, you and this behavior. So progress, what is progress in a relationship? What is that? You're starting to feel more comfortable with each other. You like spending time with them. The relationship is progressing whether you like it or not, just based on time. If you've spent more, you're more committed to this person. What is in a relationship? Progress is I'm enjoying this person's company more. We make each other feel good. And I want to spend more time with them. I'm feeling more connected to them. And that I can feel more intimate with this person. I can trust them more. And that we've been together longer. It requires a certain amount of history. You need to be able to actually have a certain amount of time together. Progress in a relationship, I guess is time, right? How long have you been together, right? So then that is a great metric as far as I'm concerned, is with exercise. So what's your progress on that? Well, my progress is I'm more committed. We're feeling good. We're feeling better together. We're making each other feel good. And and then when you've been for a year, for 2 years, for 5 years, we've kept up this relationship, and you've definitely been contributing. That behaviour has been contributing to you in some way, shape, or form. If you hadn't been doing the behaviour at all, imagine what your life would be like. Very different. And then the physical manifestation of that, who knows where that's at? But that'll get there. When you've been doing it for long enough, those things come. If your relationship gets better and better, and you work on that relationship. If you're in that relationship constantly going, why aren't you doing more for me? What's going on here? And it's like, you should be doing more. How good do you think that relationship will be? Probably not great. So you can see how this, when you think of it as this relationship, you can see why it doesn't work. If you took the way that people generally act towards the way that the way that their body should be responding, how much they should be doing with these things, then you realize, of course, nothing's happening there, because you're such a toxic relationship you have with this. So summarizing all of that is, the problem is every action that needs to be taken in the world, requires an emotional relationship with those behaviors, and we are becoming that person, or that's what we want to do. We want to become that person that is in a great relationship with these activities and with these health behaviors, and that's what makes us sick, because it's an infinite game. We want to be doing these behaviors for the rest of our lives, and if we are going to do them for the rest of our lives, we have to want to. We want to, and we have to want to if we're ever going to be able to keep this up. So and that requires getting into the deeper underpinnings of our unconscious mind and changing at that level. Otherwise, you're just trying to get married at first sight, and it's too much too quick, and you just develop a toxic relationship. You keep trying to make that work. So maybe that wasn't a great summary, but I hope you enjoyed that. Like, subscribe, and share with a friend if that was useful for you, and you think they might get something out of it too. And I'll see you next time.